The title of this presentation is the Strategic Planning to Improve Biobank Sustainability, and what I want to show you is the experience of our biobank. I have a few slides to introduce our biobank, and then I will go through all the strategic plan that help us to improve our sustainability. In the next slide, this is a slide to give you a little bit of context of the institution in which we are. We are part of a large campus in a hospital called Hospital Universitari Vall d'Hebron. This is the largest hospital in Barcelona. It's a campus of more than 20 buildings, and here I show you some of the numbers of the activity of this hospital to show you the degree of activity we have in this hospital. And this is a slide about the research institute. We are one in the same campus. We are the Vall d'Hebron Institute of Recerca, and we have more than 50 groups in different research areas, and this is a slide about the different research areas that we have in our hospital, and they are in all kind of diseases. And so we have global health groups that are working on this issue, chronic and prevalent disease and aging, groups that are working on woman, child health and rare diseases, and groups that are working in brain, mind, and behavior projects, and then this last area of cancer research. And then there are some transversal programs which are present in all these research groups. It's a large institution with more than 600 researchers personnel. And to support this research activity, we have what I call the core facilities of an institution, and we have them classified in two areas. There are the basic and preclinical core facilities, and then the translational or clinical facilities. The biobank is within these translational and clinical facilities. But in addition to the biobank, we have units in which we have bioinformatics, we have cytometry, the typical equipment that you need to support the research of researchers. We have an installation to do experiments with animals, and we have installation in which you can do experiment with the small and larger animals. And also we have units that support the clinical research with different personnel that can support these activities. The biobank is one of these core facilities, and we give support to many of the researchers of our institution, but we also provide services to external investigators or companies. We got certification, the ISO 9001 certification quite a few years ago. And the next slide is a slide in which I show a little bit of our history. We are a hospital-based biobank, and we started our activity in the year 2010. And through all this period until now, we have the support of the Spanish government to contract personnel and to buy equipment and some reagents. In Spain, the regulation to authorize biobanks was approved in the year 2030, and this is the year in which we got this authorization. And we have the certification, the ISO 9001 certification in the year 2017. More recently, in addition to the activity that we do with biobanks, we are working on other aspects of supporting our researchers and that are related to having a catalog of animal models to study diseases, also services of 3D printing and organoid services. And this is a slide with the samples, with the services we provide at the biobank. We do a lot of activity of giving advisory services to our researchers to help them with the ethical and legal aspects of the research projects, and also technical and methodological aspect of the project. And this is all done before starting the development, in most cases, the development of the research project. And obviously, we do have services of sample processing and storage and distribution of samples to the different investigators. And thanks to all the activity we do with sample processing in our biobank, we have different banks, collections within our biobank, and they are in different diseases and research areas, because it's the same that we have seen before in the distribution of our research groups, that we have many different kind of samples and diseases in our biobank, which is typical of a hospital-based biobank. This was my last slide about giving you a little bit of the context of our biobank and a brief summary of our history. This is the starting point of our biobank when we started at the year providing service at the year 2012. Our economical situation was the one that I show you here, and is we have incomes from the government that were supporting our activity, that they were 50% of our incomes, and then the rest of the expenses that we have, they were covered by our institution. And at that moment, we were arranging everything to start having a cost recovery process. And so at the very beginning, we didn't have incomes of service provision. From the very beginning, from the year 2014, we started with having strategic plans, and nowadays we are renewing the new strategic plan, which will last until the year 2026. There are some key points in our strategic planning, which are typical of any strategic plan, which are the SWOT analysis, in which we make an analysis of which where or are our strengths or weaknesses, and which are externally our opportunities, and which are the threats that we have. And what we do every time we work on in a new strategic plan, after doing this analysis, this SWOT analysis, we go through a process of revision of our a strategic plan by different stakeholders. So we can, with this process, we can have an input from these stakeholders. And then another key point of this strategic planning is the follow-up. And the follow-up in our case is we do a follow-up of the fulfillment of the objectives of this planning. And this is something that we do every 3 months. And then we have economical follow-up of our biobank every month. Within our strategic plan, there were indicated our values, and obviously we have values regarding commitment, ethic, innovation, quality, efficiency, and one of them was the sustainability. And this is one of the values that our institution wants to be present in all the strategic plans of all the core facilities. So it's something that it was a mandate that it was established by our direction of the institution. And that's why we established one of the objectives of Biobank was to improve the sustainability. And then we established different actions in our strategic planning, and I will cite the ones that are the key elements that can have been key in our improvement of sustainability. And the first one was to do activities to reach to new potential investigators or clients. Then offer our services to different type of clients, and that means that you have to be prepared to offer your services to your researchers in your institution, but also to other investigators outside your institution, and also to small and medium-sized companies and spin-offs. Also, we did actions to establish the procedure to request our service so that we can respond in an appropriate manner to the different clients. And then we also thought that it was key to have this ISO certification, the ISO 9001 certification. Another point that is important in our strategic planning, and it was another important action, was to review our service or fees for our services. And this is due to facts like there are changes in this incomes that we have from the government, the support we have in the government, and also sometimes you have changes in the prices of the fungible that you have, and that makes you to need to review your cost fees in a regularly manner. And the last one is the importance of doing a follow-up of your budget, and also if there is any deviation of that budget, we need to explain what is the cause of that deviation and how we will solve this deviation of the budget. Regarding the cost analysis what I mean is to establish the fees of the services. This is a complex and time-consuming activity, and to do this analysis of what is the cost of any service, you first of all you have to define exactly what is the service, which are all the elements that are required to do this service, and then calculate the cost. By that I mean you need to know the time, the personal cost, the equipment cost, the fungible cost, and other costs that you might have in your biobank. And when you do this calculation of the cost, we have a document in which we describe this service with a lot of detail, so you can understand if you have any audit, we could explain what is the basis of this cost. And also we have the information of the cost of that service. Once we have this analysis of the cost of the services, we do benchmark with other biobanks to make sure that we have a price, a cost that is within the market. And then afterwards, the last point is to make a decision, an institutional decision, to establish the final fee that you will approve and will use for all the different type of clients. this to have this final fees for the services you provide. Before publishing them, we need to go to a process of revision and approval of these fees. In our case, since we are an institution in the public sector, we have to go through through different commission and to have this approval, this final approval. And then the last step is to publish these services, and they have to be available through our web page, which is an important point to show transparency. Also, some of the financier of research project, they request us as core facilities to have this information in a public manner. And then the next point is to inform all your current clients about changes in the fees if they apply to any project that is ongoing. And the last point is the fact that you can have audits from national or European project funders that will make sure that your cost analysis is correct, and that this service can be charged to any research project or investigators. This is a slide in which I go back to show you our numbers. This was the graph that I showed you at the very beginning, in which our incomes were only due to the institutional financing and the government financing, and this is the evolution that we have shown in these years. We are right now here. This green line, what shows is the a percentage of incomes by fee for services. Nowadays, is almost 60% of our incomes are due to fees for services. During this process, we experienced a reduction of the government financing, because that happens to all the biobanks in our country, because that was a decision taken from the government. They wanted to impulse the biobanks, but then they requested us to look for sustainability by our own means. And then this line is the institutional support. So as a conclusion of this evolution during this process of having this strategic planning, we have been able to increase our fees for services up to 60%, and we have a reduction of institutional funding, which was a value of our institution, which was requested to us to improve this. So nowadays is 20% of our expenses, income. And finally, I just want to comment some thoughts about this sustainability issue regarding that. I think it's important that we don't forget other key values of a biobank. That is not only about sustainability. Our mission is to collaborate with the improvement of the health of our citizens by the way we can do it with collaborating with the biomedical research, and sustainability is just one of the values. Then I do recommend the use of a strategic plan. I think it's very important to think, to plan, to follow, and to go back to thinking again. And then the last one is about biobanking requires resources. When some investigators or or companies requires services, samples data to the biobank, I think is important to let them know and explain them what are all the things, all the services that we do in order to provide these specific samples and data. And so they will understand better why there is a cost associated to our services. And this is the last slide that I have. Here I have my contact info in case you want to contact me, and I will be happy to take any questions you might have. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Isabel. That was most interesting and really impressive to hear how much of your costs you're managing to recover by fee for services. Yeah, that's impressive. Just to remind the audience that if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A, and we can answer them now, or we will have a panel discussion at the end. So if any questions, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. And yeah. Isabel, I was also impressed to see that you're very transparent about your pricing and your pricing analysis, and so the price for your samples is actually on your website.
This is a requisite of funders of the European Commission projects and also the funders of our Spanish. So if your fees are not in your webpage, all the how do you say, all the charge that you are rejected. And so it's one of the requisites. And so in fact, we do have in our webpage, we also have all the historical prices, because we might have a project that started 3 years ago and we are applying a fee of 3 years ago. And if we don't have this information in your webpage, they will reject our services, or the cost of our services. So this is all due to the if you have if your clients most of them, if they have projects from public funders, they requested all of that. It's not what if you have only private, you wouldn't have that problem. But in our case, most of investigators are from public institutions.
Right. And when you said that your prices are benchmarked against other biobanks, is this other biobanks in Spain, or is it other biobanks?
Yeah. Well, yes. In fact, we did an analysis this year in the network of biobanks in Spain to compare the fees of all the biobanks. But usually, this was a very time-consuming analysis, and we have done it once. And the result of that analysis is that there was a lot of variation and dispersion in the fees. But I think it's a very good exercise, because during the process of cost analysis, there are some points that are difficult to be objective, and it's good to know if you are within the march of all of the most of the biobanks. When I do a cost analysis in my institution, I don't look at 50 biobanks and I center my analysis in the neighborhood or in Spain. I don't usually look at European, because just the cost of personnel, the difference between our personnel cost is there is nothing to compare with. So it doesn't make sense to compare probably to a biobank in the north of Europe. So it's
Yes.
better to compare to your neighborhood to make sure that
Yes.
your analysis is correct.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, we're going to have a panel discussion at the end. So if you think of any more questions in the meantime to ask Dr. Garcia, then please put them in the Q&A, or we'll come to them in the panel discussion. So, okay, thank you very much, Isabel.
Thank you.